Welcome to Tennis Genius Tricks and Tips. Today we will be looking at backhand fundamentals. Before we start, very quickly I will share with you the Tennis Genius philosophy. The Tennis Genius philosophy is quite simple. We break tennis down into 5 simple steps. So you can start to break your tennis game down and focus on each aspect of your tennis game mechanically and strategically so that it doesn't seem like it's too much to encompass at one time, and you can feel as if you are reaching your goals each time that you play tennis and you are getting better and better, rather than feeling like you have made no progress on certain days and some progress on others. Steps of Tennis Genius are footwork, preparation, contact of the ball, and follow-through after contact. Then, last but not least, strategy. In this video, we will be focusing on the first 4 steps: footwork, preparation, contact of the ball, and follow-through after contact. Number 1, footwork, which is often the most overlooked but by far the most important aspect of your game besides contact of the ball. If you watch all the great players, you will see that they are contacting the ball very well and they are moving very well. Sometimes their preparation is off and sometimes their follow-through is off. But those 2 key aspects, their footwork and the contact of the ball, are always on point. So here we are going to look at how the player is balanced and how the player is moving to the side of the ball. Let's look at how the player is keeping the hips nice and low and a nice double width shoulder wide stance with the feet. Try not to hunch your back over and fall backward when you hit. Especially on the backhand side, we tend to be more defensive with our shots and we tend to let the ball push us back in many cases. So we want to make sure that we are leaning forward as we hit and throughout our shot. So try, if possible, to get sideways to the ball so you have more of a closed stance. An open stance is for when you have to hit that shot, and you have to make sure that you're nice and balanced to do that and succeed at it. But if possible, try to get to the side of the ball and lead with your right foot if you are right-handed into the shot and left foot if you are left-handed into the shot. Now let's take a look at racket preparation. If you will notice, the racket head is standing almost at a vertical when the player turns the body, and their dominant shoulder is turning toward the incoming ball at a diagonal, making sure that the ball is at a diagonal from them away, not just in front of them, because then they will be jammed up when the ball comes too close, and they will be forced to hit an uncomfortable shot. The reason that you turn and have the racket standing at a vertical on both your forehand and your backhand is so that you can utilize what they call the gravity assist, which I will be explaining in more detail on the next step, which is contact. You want to be able to allow gravity to create a lot of energy on the way down. So the weight of the racket head needs to start up, so when you drop it down, it creates a little bit more inertia. Now let's take a look at the contact, which includes the part directly after preparation. So preparation is a distinct step where the racket head is up and ready to hit the ball. And then contact falls under the swing to contact, not the swing through contact, the swing to contact and the contact itself. What happens after contact is included in the 4th step, which is follow through. So this way, you can really look at your swing path as one step all the way to contact. So in this case, you're going to use the gravity assist. The gravity assist is exactly as it sounds. You're going to use gravity to assist you to create some energy so that you don't have to feel like you're swinging too hard. Have you ever watched the pros and gone, man, they really look like they're relaxed, yet they're hitting so hard. They look like they're hitting so smoothly. It's because they're allowing the weight of the racket to flow through. So watch as the player brings the racket up for step number 2, which is preparation. And then watch when the player allows the racket head to drop and line up the butt cap with the incoming ball. So the racket goes up and the racket goes down when the ball bounces, lines up the butt cap at a diagonal, lines up the butt cap with the ball at a diagonal away, and then goes to contact. Now at contact, the player wants the racket face to be just below the wrist, not above, just below the wrist, and the string bed itself to be square with the net. This way, it will allow for the best opportunity to make the ball over the net. If your strings are not square with the net, the ball might soar up and go out, or the ball might dribble off your strings and go into the net. And you will be wondering what happened because it's such a subtle nuance in the swing that you might not notice that. But making sure that your string bed on ground strokes is under your wrist upon contact, that it is not above the handle upon contact, and the racket face, the string bed, is square with the net. Now that we have looked at contact, we are going to go to the 4th and final step of the mechanics aspect of the Tennis Genius philosophy. Now this includes the swing through the ball all the way until you are completely finished with the swing, and in the ground strokes case, you will hope to have the racket head over your shoulders and both elbows up around shoulder level height. You want this to be the case so that you make sure that you're flowing through your shot and you have full control over it. You want to have a lot of what I call ball string time, meaning that you're carrying the ball through with your racket so you have the most control over it. Now you want to utilize the technology of the racket to your advantage. The technology of the racket puts the sweet spot, especially in the new technology, puts the sweet spot just a little bit higher than it used to be on the racket head. So you want to contact the ball a little bit higher and make sure that you're flowing through the ball, because what will happen upon contact, just like the intro video to all our videos, you will notice that the ball actually pushes the string bed back a little bit, kind of like a trampoline. So if you contact wrong and go through with a little bit of a wonky swing path to follow through, you're going to lose control of the ball. But if you really flow through and have the right curvature on your swing path, you will make sure to really utilize the technology to your advantage. Now in this case, we are trying to hit what is called a heavy ball. And a heavy ball comes off the strings and gains height relatively quickly and stays at that height for a while, all the way up until it lands near the baseline. The idea of this shot is so that it pushes the opponents off the baseline and makes them come off balance just enough that they give you a shorter ball so that you can now step in and start to take over the point. So this is a great defense to offense play. So the mechanical aspect of the follow-through in this case is to make sure that the racket head is dropped down enough upon contact, and then you extend through it just kind of like you're bowling on the lower half of the swing. You're really pushing that non-dominant hand, in this case the left hand, through the ball, and then you're curving. You're kind of drawing a rainbow out in front of you with the racket handle, not the racket head, because if you draw a rainbow with the racket head, it'll be too short. But if you draw one with the handle, it'll be a little bit longer, and you'll really extend through to create that heavy ball. And that is what we are looking for. So in this case, using this technique that we have designed and the way that we have compartmentalized the steps and allowed you to really break down your backhand, you can now take your backhand from what was once considered a shield to a weapon. And that is the new evolution of tennis. Thank you for watching. Tennis Genius Tricks and Tips. I hope you enjoyed it. Now go out and play and be a smarter player.